It's tea time. Yo. Yeah, thank you. What's up? This is Danny.
And this is James, bringing you some aged white tea from Yunnan Sourcing.
Yeah.
So this is wrong one. Some 6 years aged Gongmei white tea.
Yeah. Huge sample.
And in a year, this is going to be 7 years aged. That's how time works.
Galaxy brain. Galaxy brain. The meme.
Yeah.
So this is a 50-gram sample. Huge.
Yeah.
You can definitely still tell that the leaves are, that they're white tea leaves, you know.
Right.
And it does have a bit of a white tea aroma. Easy way to smell that or tell that would be the kind of silver buds that you can sometimes see, even though these have been more oxidized through the aging process.
Right.
And then also just that honeysuckle sweet
Yeah.
smell that's so traditional with the white.
One big difference too from a cake versus not is that this is big, but like if you had this all in loose form, it'd be huge.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm pretty convinced that whoever invented pressing white tea into cakes was just trying to convince their wife that they could have more.
I knew there was a joke in there somewhere.
Sure, yeah. I think I read that somewhere on the internet.
Well, I mean, that is how the whole pu'er thing was originally started. It was a transportation issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
it makes a lot of sense.
logistics.
Space condensed. Yeah.
Logistics. Or like location, whatever. But yeah, it'll be fun. We were kind of reviewing what we've been drinking more recently, and we're going to pause. And we're back through the magic of time and editing. Anyway, so I was just saying that basically we try to diversify with the teas that we bring on the show as much as we can. Not just drink really, really fancy aged pu'er teas that no one can buy because we're so cool. Ha. Yeah. Little fingers up.
Yeah.
But
That's how it works, right?
Right.
That's how you
definitely.
taunt people?
Yeah.
That's how you
especially
make
on
fun
the
of
internet.
people on the internet?
Yeah. So, anyway, we haven't had a white tea on in a while, but it's always, we have a diversity of tea. You know what tea we haven't had on in a while? Japanese tea. Japanese green tea of some sort.
They're very popular, so occasionally
I don't know.
we gotta do it.
We're you can tell we're not in it for the social likes or whatever the heck. Anyway, I'm excited to have this. 6 years age will have an impact on the flavor at this point for sure.
Yep.
And let's cool off for a second while James brews the second one.
Yep.
I noticed that you had a lot of sediment in your pour. Do you normally drink around that, James?
Drink around this?
Well, meaning that you wouldn't just like chug the
No,
the leaves.
I generally I avoid drinking the sediment.
Right.
Yeah.
Not sediment, but just
Yeah.
little.
I mean, that's why people will
Non-filtered.
use like a strainer or something like that, which
Right.
we haven't used for many an episode
Right.
at this point.
Yeah, some people believe that a metal strainer will affect the taste. And while technically there's going to be some physical interplay between hot water and the strainer,
I'm not convinced.
I mean, so just from a purely atomic level perspective, that being said, yeah.
Yeah.
If we can double-blind taste test that and have you figure that out, you're
It's like
a taste savant.
It's like the 87th most important thing. It's the taste in your cup. It's not high.
Here we go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sort of sweet, honey-ish. It's got like, for me, I had this tea once before, and it's kind of got like just a bunch of different types of sweetness, and it's like just kind of like sugary, sugarcane, honey.
Yeah, there's a little tobacco-iness to it, in my opinion, and not nearly as much of the really crisp flavors that you will get from a very young white tea.
Right.
And so yeah, it does taste a little aged to me. Great aftertaste.
Yeah.
Classic.
Really friendly taste, like very sweet.
Yeah, totally. Here we go. Numero dos. I think one difference that I'm noticing with the aging is, and it could also just be the material itself, little less silky, viscous texture. is something that you really notice a lot in white
Right.
teas, and this one has a little bit less of that. I mean, it's still.
I mean,
there.
I wonder how much of that is the tea itself versus the age, and
Right.
frankly, I just don't know.
Right. Yeah. As I said, hard to say which is which, but not quite there as much. But that's okay because there's all these beautiful flavors going on. I like that this is a little bit earthy, and I think that's from the aging. I think that the aging has changed and evolved this flavor a
Right.
little bit.
And one thing I've realized, and I'm not by any means a expert white tea brewer, but I've realized that I tend to like it really hitting it pretty hard, brew wise. So definitely I'm using boil, as you can tell, and definitely letting the tea hang out for a bit. It sort of comes apart a little differently than caked pour, and in a way I haven't 100% figured out yet, but I tend to like it when it's a little stronger. It doesn't bite back as much as pour will.
I totally agree. Yeah, it's white teas for whatever reason do tend to be very forgiving, whereas a green tea you need to be much more careful about, or black tea even. It can just get too astringent and mouth puckering. But a lot of flavor in this. I think the aging might give it a little bit more longevity than just a fresh white tea would.
I think so, yeah.
And yeah, wonderful, classic, kind of sweet.
Very
honeysuckle
different from
flavors.
like Silver Needle, though.
Not nearly as crisp is what I would say.
Or delicate or any of
Right,
those,
yeah. Definitely more cozy and earthy, not nearly as verdant. Tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going. Cheers.
Cheers.
This one's brewing up a little bit darker too, I think, because James hit it with freshly boiling water and a little bit extra time.
Yeah, and it just takes a bit to come apart. It's like I was trying to get it more open on the first steep, but even like the color was still pretty pale. So.
Right, specifically we're talking about the cake itself. It
Right.
being-
Yeah. So yeah, we would definitely this would definitely brew out differently if it was loose.
Right.
But I tend to like it when it gets a little bit more towards these darker orangish or even orangish red steeps.
Yeah. There you go.
Cheers.
So nice, really. White tea is just so easy to drink.
Right.
And it can kind of fit any situation. It's a great tea to start the session with, like we were doing today.
Right.
Really pleasant. This
Yeah.
is really well balanced. Again, I like that this is a little bit spicy, earthy, a little bit of a tobacco-iness, a little bit of a black pepper, just a tiny bit. Nothing overpowering at all. Just a compliment. Quite good.
Mom test?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this tastes sweetened. Right?
Yeah.
It tastes like someone added sugar to it.
Yeah, unless Scott is like secretly adding some palm sugar or something.
Man, it would be disgusting if that were actually true. Just as a heads up, if people were actually putting sugar in their tea, it would mold so fast. It'd be so gross.
Well, the tea that molds, you just sell it as a foo brick.
Ding. Wow. So we'll see how this last steeping goes.
Yep, I think we'll probably call it here. I think the longevity of these teas really depends on what sort of steeps you're after. I'm going after some pretty strong steeps here.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to brew quite as long as it would have if I went a little lighter on the tea.
Yeah.
But
the liqueur though is still quite dark.
Right.
Saturated with color. Very beautiful.
yeah, still some aroma to it, so I don't think it's done. In fact, I'm curious to get your notes on that aroma.
It's kind of oaty.
I'd say this white tea is like very semi-aged. It still tastes like white tea.
Yeah.
It's not fully into that like really dark, datey profile.
Right.
So it sort of has a mix of those higher notes and those lower notes. I think this was probably aged in Kunming. I'm not positive, but yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, I love the smell on it. A little fruity. More fruity than it's tasting, I think.
Yeah. What about the Denny Ultralight?
I think this would probably do well, frankly. Yeah. There's a lot of particulates, so that part of it, not having a strainer and just doing grandpa style, could be a little bit. That's one reason why green oolongs are so great. Is they're just kind of like they just stain one like long clump. Anyway, here we go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So sort of like ripe, it would be good except for the particulate.
Yeah. So even though James hit this with thyme and hot water, we're losing that viscosity at that point, which is an indication that we're dying off and getting into the tail of this here. Still really tasty though, and you could throw this in a pitcher of water and throw it in your fridge overnight and get a nice iced tea out of it too.
Right. And I know a lot of people that actually really like to boil the white tea leaves, and usually I am just too lazy to do that, frankly speaking, but you get some interesting flavors off that.
You probably could.
Yeah, I like the flavors off this last one, a little bit more of the sort of like dryish fruit. Yeah.
Yeah, quite nice.
Yeah.
Check this out. This is a great introduction to some aged tea that's not an aged pu'er.
Yep.
So, and I bet this is probably fairly affordable.
I think it's around $50, so for 300 grams.
That's a ton of tea.
Yeah.
Or pick up a 50-gram sample, which is still quite a bit of tea to give for a sample. So check them out. YunnanSourcing.com. Scott's the dude. There's many a dude and dudette, but Scott's one of them.
Scott is one of the dudes of the world.
So check them out. And James, if people want to learn more about tea.
Yeah, check us out at TeaDB.org, writing about tea as well as releasing a ton of different videos. Hit that subscribe button no matter what if you made it this far in the video. And give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And we'll see you all next time.